Alright, along with the variety of headphones that was sent to me by that very nice person, Daxman, on YouTube, he also sent me this, which he claims is his favorite DAC. And if you don't know what it is, just from looking at it, it is the Nuforce uDac2, I believe. There's no model number actually on it. But, I don't think they made more than... There's a 2 and the 3, and this isn't the 3. And, it's pretty small. Here's the M2. That's given away tomorrow. So it is dimensionally smaller. Obviously not as thin. I mean, that's where this comes in, is holy crap thin. It's half, a little less than half as thick. So, it's small, tiny DAC here. Behringer DAC. When I was first getting into audio, this was my oh, I want to have this, I can't wait. I'll buy this and I'll de-wire it and I'll put it inside an amplifier and get that signal path super short. I was an idiot back in the day. Let's put it that way. And I went with this anyway because this was 100 and this was 30. And this was a damn good improvement. And then came Northwest AV Guy's blog that took the biggest shit on this than a bear, like a horse bear, some sort of weird elephant horse bear, because Nuforce, these guys, when he took his DAC into his shop, and he has a way more technical shop than I do, he measured it. He measured, the frequency response and the decay and all the crazy things you measure on a DAC, all the ones and zeros that come out of it, or go into it and then waves that come out of it. And he thought he had something broken, and he contacted them, and he went back and forth. Go to the description. I will link the uDac2 drama thread. And if you have any interest at all in audio fidelity and you want to know what's up, read that. Because Nuforce said, no, we tuned it. It's tuned so the way we like it. And that's a problem morally in my case for a DAC. Because when you have the song, you have the source, whether it's a CD or FLAC or MP3 or anything, is whatever it is. You can't help that. You could scream at it, but you can't help it. But then you got to get it out of your operating system or player and into a DAC, and then out of the DAC and into an amplifier, and out of the amplifier and into speakers or headphones or whatever. And those first 4 steps, you want perfect. Speakers, you ever notice that speakers are very different? Every speaker is different and every other speaker is different? Because there is no perfect speaker. If calculators could figure out perfect speakers, somewhere around 1970, the perfect speaker would have been designed and they'd all be that. So, you're going to have a distortion of the sound and the way things sound, no matter what. There's no oh, this speaker is perfect. No, it doesn't exist. But, you can get an amplifier. You could take an amplifier, any amplifier, and you can measure that what you put in is what comes out. And you get little decimal places of distortion and things that are getting fucked over. And you want to make those as small as possible. So, speakers, you can't help it. I mean, you could try to help it. You can design them out and do things. But then the room affects it. And this room is actually, I hate this room. But I love this room because all this shit keeps when sound radiates out, it hits things and breaks and falls apart. And I've never been in a room that sounds better than this one. So you can control your room, you can control which speakers you buy, you can look at specs on an amplifier, and you can look at specs on a DAC, which is the next step down. You can't fix the music at the source unless you go and yell at the White Stripes and tell them to record that better. Coming out of your computer, you can pretty much get bit perfect. Use foobar or you Wasapi to go around things, ASIO on an older system. And then the DAC shows up right here in the middle. It's in the middle of this whole process. It goes from the analog world from the digital world to the analog world. And its job is to take ones and zeros and ones and ones and ones and zeros and ones and make a little waveform. And Nuforce decided they were going to put a little spin on that. Their own little EQ bumpness, so that their stuff sounded just particular. And that's not what you fucking do with a DAC. DACs are not allowed to fuck with it. People who get, tube amplifiers are fucking with it. They're fucking with it in the amplification stage. People who people who play with the EQs, you know, those big rack EQs with like 30 band pass, and they're fucking with it. And I'm a big proponent of not fucking with it until you get here. That's how you fuck with it. You pick your speaker, you pick the one you like the most, and you're done. And everything before that, flat as a board. No EQing. DSP correction I'm on the fence about, but, you know, but most of the time it's just like, source is whatever it is, player as clean as you can get it, DAC as accurate as you can get it, amp as clean as you can get it, and speakers happen. Headphones happen. Always headphones. None of them sound the same, because this is the final end. This is the end result. You put the same perfect amplified, analog, clean signal into all of these, and they're all going to sound different. So now, what Nuforce did is they tweaked the shit out of it because they felt like it. So that when you listen to something in this, they took whatever they figured out. I'm not even sure if they did, you know, massive amounts of research on it, but they plugged headphones into it and plugged speakers into it. Which, by the way, I should tell you what it has. It has a headphone out. Click on, then there's volume, and clicks off. Big USB, full-size USB, coaxial digital output, which I got to work for about a minute and then it stopped, and I don't know why. Full-size RCAs, blah blah blah. Forget about the actual physical build of it. When I review a DAC, I should only be talking about the features it has. When I reviewed the M2, it's playing, so it's probably going to freak out. Yep, freaked it out. USB, volume knob, line out, and optical out, and headphone out, and power LED. That's all I should have to tell you, because the actual sound of a DAC should be perfect. Every single one of them. And this one's isn't. And I just sat here for 40 minutes manually setting foobar to switch back and forth between DACs and switching headphones around real quick. And then at some point switching to the speakers. And there's a difference. This sounds different. And it shouldn't. Does it sound terrible? No. It's not distorted or anything. But they decided that it was up to them to make their own little tweaky fun shit happen, when they should have just went, how many 0.0001% of distortion can we get? And they didn't do that. They didn't bother trying. They just, you know those guys, you just look at those EQs of those guys are like, yeah, this with this cool like shape, looks like a wave that I saw once when I was in Paris. No. Accurate. Numbers. Math. This is a math box. This is a math box. These things have math in them. And the better their math is, the better and cleaner the signal that comes out. And then you amplify it, and then you can go to town on different types of speakers and magnepans and planar tweeters. And that's where you want the screwing up to happen. In the physical world with air moving. Because if that screws it up, and your amplifier is a tube amp, which tube amps have pretty goddamn horrendous distortion. People like the distortion. It's a pleasant, warm distortion that tube amps can cause. But then if you fed that tube amp with a modified DAC, and while you're at it, let's put an EQ in there, and then we'll have Windows screw with some sound, and by the way, the recording is terrible. And I don't even know what comes out of that. That end trail of just complete buttfuckery. So, I like this DAC as far as a build. It sounds okay when you don't compare it directly to something else. I mean, he sent it to me because I like this one so much, and I know exactly what I'm. Just read the article. Don't listen to me. I'm just babbling on in my angry little state here. But this is a better DAC because it doesn't screw around. It just tries as hard as it can to make the ones and zeros that come into it come out of it in a pretty beautiful little waveform. And this takes the ones and zeros and just does what the fuck it feels like. So they both sound okay. If I just gave you this, you'd be fine. If I gave you this and gave you a way to switch back and forth, you would say, wow, this one sounds different. It's got a weird shape to it. It actually doesn't sound as bassy, which is a little odd to me. So if there's enough of a difference for me to hear it, then we're not talking about 0.001. We're talking about 1 and 2% differences in things. So, Nuforce, you lost my respect when I read that article years ago, and I'm glad it's been proven that it actually does make a difference in the sound. There are other ways to spend your money that aren't this. I gotta give that back. I better not smash it with a bullet. Alright. So there's my review of the Nuforce uDac2. Only buy it if you're a jackass. That's probably mean to say. I'm gonna get some dislikes, but maybe you didn't know. Now you know what they did and what they're doing. They're fucking with stuff they shouldn't be. They should respect that part of the audio chain. And if they want to make an amplifier that's got tubes in it, that's fine. If they want to make speakers, they can do anything they want with speakers. Go nuts. Speakers and tweeters in the back. Put 2 woofers on the side. Put one on the bottom. Have it shaped like a dick. I don't care. Just don't screw with the DAC's job. Because as soon as you screw up that part of it, that it doesn't matter how good an amplifier and how good you have your speakers set up in your perfect room, this is screwing it up now. You want to check mark off the good things, and you can't screw up the middle. It's a chain, and the weakest link would be this. So, figure something else out. Don't get that.